Hopefully everyone can hear, and part of this is gonna be, it's gonna be hard to hear because we don't have a phone.
Where'd it go?
I don't know, that's what I asked you. It wasn't where it was at, so, but if you guys get started, listen hard, people. Is that people in the room?
Okay. So, what we'll do is we'll call the meeting to order, at 9:07. And we'll have sign in. Call.
Karen.
Here.
Ryan's here. I'm here. Rob.
Here.
He said here, but you couldn't hear him.
No. Tom.
I'm here.
Tom's here
Tom's
too.
here.
Morgan.
I'm here.
Morgan's here.
All right. We have a consent agenda that was sent out. Does anybody have any questions, updates? We do not have the minutes yet for July or August.
My computer is back up and running, so
So
I will have it this week.
Okay, so those will be published this week. So we'll put it on the website as normal. So, financials and that go on. So any questions to me, directors on consent agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept consent agenda.
Right now, do we have a second?
I'll second, Rob.
Rob second. Sorry, I'll be your translator for a moment.
All right, this is gonna be a really tough one. Committee reports, we've got, Rob on financials.
Yeah, give me just a second and it'll make it a little bit easier.
Okay.
Or not, maybe not.
No, it's not. It's hidden somewhere. And then buried in somewhere.
All right, so without that, it will make it a little harder, but we'll do what we can. Okay, Rob, give us a sound check and see what we can hear for you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, that's terrible, but we're gonna, one more time. All right, try it again.
There,
Hello, hello. This is me.
All right. It's okay in here for now, but we'll get better as we start moving.
Got it. And do you have the asset snapshot available?
I do, please hold. We got a little bit of a late start in the room, so.
No worries.
All right. There you go.
Sweet. All right. So as of
My bad.
That's good. As of September 11th, we had roughly 32,000 in the Pacific Premier account. 126,000 in the Umpqua general checking. Firewise with 839.19. The legal fund, roughly 40,000. Garbage fund with roughly 76,000 in it. And then the marina money market, 69,000. And the marina CD, 873,000 roughly. The volunteer fund committee checking, 44,000. The money market, 41,000, and then the road money market, 168,000, almost 169,000, for a total of 1,474,000 and some change in total assets. Any questions on the assets there?
Has on the road committee, some of the deducts been taken out yet?
I don't believe as of September 11th, those had yet been taken out, because looking at the balance of the road account as of August 14th, it was 168,356, and today it was 168,978. So we have like 600 more dollars in the road account on September 11th compared to August 14th. Yeah, so I don't think those transactions have hit yet. And something else to point out, I need to work with HOA Start to get a better breakdown of, we're getting lump deposits into our Umpqua bank account. And some of those deposits are for garbage, some of those are for gate access, and I need their help in breaking down the difference between those deposits, because they're just showing up as cash dropped into our bank account, and we need to be able to allocate those funds to the proper accounts. So just as a heads up.
Rob, did you get the application for
I did, yes, thank you.
Master?
Yep, thank you for sending that. So I'll be working on that this week. I just got back from vacation in Chicago here this past week, so that is on my to-do list for this week.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep. Only other news, let's see, in the financial world, we've got an NDA sent off to a landowner, Carrie Ree. She's going to assist with some treasury activities starting October 1st, really to help us as an organization look to act more as a business as it relates to financials. She is a controller for a multi-million-dollar construction company, so a ton of great expertise in that market. So looking forward to having her assist. And also should have all the committees kind of start to, if you haven't already, start working on your budgets for 2025, because we will have that budget meeting here in November to go over the budget for 2025. So if people could start working on that, that would be fantastic. I think that is everything. General financials are posted on the website. Thank you, Michelle. But any other questions?
All right. Thanks, Rob.
Yep.
Next up, I had garbage. Penny Lippold, for those of you who don't know, Penny, who is a rock star for garbage, and has had a personal goal of improving garbage access, beautifying garbage pickup. She did a lot of things. She's moving on, so she won't be doing that anymore. She had interviewed a couple of people and asked several times. Steve Grimya had visited with her, and they had come up to an agreement on what needed to be done. So she has suggested that Steve move into that position. We don't necessarily need a vote on that, but I would like to get any questions. I want to bring it up with anybody that has any concerns. And I'll be able to hear Tom or, okay.
No, just a general comment to thank Steve for stepping up to do that. Appreciate it.
Well, I agree with that. A big thank you to Penny for all the hard work that she comes in. And I do want to say that I would like to suggest down the road, and we're really working hard to try. I've been talking with some people from the fire district to try and get that area over where the dumpsters are, because that was a plan that Penny had come up with years ago. And hopefully we can still bring that in, and yeah, we could put a plaque on the wall, and I don't know if she wants to be associated with garbage, maybe. Recycling, there you go. Recycling. It would be Penny's Recycling Center because she has worked on that tirelessly. Her and Firewise and the garbage were two things that she has worked on for forever, and we got to appreciate it. So we'll look at that. So okay. The next thing that we had was roads, and Bob, you want to go over what you have on roads?
Okay, Bob is screwed up. I didn't notice on the proposal that Tri-County sent me that they had an exclusion on gravel. Talking to Jeff, asking him when they're scheduled to come in. He requested 250 ton of gravel to be paid by the road committee, which means it's gonna bring up another $6,000 above the 99,000 that they originally bid. He has said if we wanted to, that we could cancel the contract with Tri-County because of this. I have talked to High Desert Paving, who give us the other quote of 96,000 to do the same work. The difference being is that High Desert will not crack seal, where Tri-County, it was in part of their bid. We're gonna rent the machine anyway, so I didn't really think that that was a problem. Talking to them, Steve with High Desert, he said that he would honor the contract, and that if we decided to, we could have High Desert come in instead of Tri-County. I would like to leave that to the board to make a decision, either to drop the contract or pay the extra money for the gravel.
How many yards is that?
That is a bunch.
Well, I know, but I'm just curious.
If they bring in 12-yard loads, it's gonna be roughly 20 loads. What, say again?
You can't bring in 12-yard loads in here. It's over weight limit.
I know.
But, yeah, okay. A lot of yards.
Yes, it's a lot. 250 ton is a big pile of gravel.
Okay, so,
I would like to say one more thing. If we decide to stay with Tri-County, that would affect one of our board, one of our members, which is Mike Patton, has the contract with Tri-County to prep the work. In other words, remove the asphalt and part of the gravel and put new gravel in. Tri-County would come in and compact it, wet it, and get it ready for paving. If we decide to cancel the contract with Tri-County, that leaves Mike Patton without a contract that way, which might affect him quite a bit. I don't know. It's just something to think about.
Does the High Desert bid include the gravel, or is that on top of that one too?
No, they did include the gravel. The only thing that High Desert didn't include was the crack sealant around the patches, which Tri-County seems to forget anyway. So I move it to the board to make a decision on it, to cancel Tri-County.
How much, how much is the crack seal?
Well, if we rent our own machine, it was $1,800 a week for the machine, and I want to say 22 something for a pallet of the tar, which is 75 boxes, 35 pounds a piece. So,
we had already set aside funds for that.
yes,
That's already
yeah,
part of the project. So-
right. And understanding that it'll probably be written it twice, and probably, another pallet also to do Three Rivers.
What's High Desert schedule for,
October. That's why we need to make a decision, because if we postpone it, then it won't be till March of next year.
So correct me if I'm wrong, it's about a $10,000 swing, right?
K3 could do it.
I didn't know about it, honestly.
Nice paving.
They do a nice job.
Hold on, Tom had a question.
Well, yeah, so what you're telling me or what I'm hearing is it's about $10,000 more to go with Tri-County as opposed to High Desert.
Well, actually, it'll be more than that. Well, no, you're right, right around 10,000, because Tri-County was $6,000 higher than High Desert to start with. So if you add another 6 on that, so that brings it up to about 12,000 higher.
Thank you. One other question too, and it's not necessarily on this topic. Has Lakeview Drive been striped yet?
No, not since it was to start with.
Well, when's that gonna happen?
It's not in my schedule to do that. No, they did the striping down Lakeview. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I haven't put it in a schedule to do it. No idea.
I was pretty sure that was set up when we passed off, when Ed left roads. Just
Well,
asked.
Ed was kind of silent about anything that he had done previous. So he didn't pass on anything.
And well, I'd appreciate it if you consider that because it's a safety issue.
All right, we'll do it.
Bob, we have history with High Desert doing work for us, or?
Have we previously? Yes.
Yeah. And we're confident with their work.
Yeah, I would think so. Plus, he also does chip sealing, where Tri-County does not do chip sealing. So in the future, we could have prices to chip seal some of these other roads. Which he's gonna do is give me a price on that also.
Yeah, I would lean High Desert just because the savings, and we're not. Yeah, every bit helps right now where we're at.
I agree.
I agree.
Why don't you get another bid from K3?
You only got 2 bids to start with.
They've got time to do it.
Plenty of time to do it. Or are you just gonna make a decision now?
Well, we know,
I would like to make a decision now and get it going.
yeah, if we're running out of weather,
That's the problem, yeah.
so we know that Tri-County would do it end of September or 1st of October. High Desert would do it before the end of October. What's the availability of this third company? Do we know?
Well, I just call him up. I know him. He's local. He owns the local pit in Madras. They do a lot of paving. They paved in here. They could have you a bid probably in a couple of days and tell you what it is. Then you would know whether you had the best bid.
Well, we went out for bids to ask for it. Did this company?
I didn't know about this company. I had 2 others that didn't,
That have.
wasn't interested, yeah, and then 2 that did. Right.
Well, they run Rock and Road gravel pit too, K3 does, and they do a lot of commercial work locally.
Do they?
Yeah. They're Mennonites, which doesn't mean anything, but they do really.
They're very clean, tidy work.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I wish
beautiful.
I'd
And
known to
they're
start with.
local in Madras rather than that far away, so.
Well, again, I was kind of just dropped on it, so I didn't know anything about them. I got the 2 that I did know that had been up here.
That's fine. I mean, we did our due diligence to a degree and that's where we're at. But right now we have a question. So a director needs to come up with an idea for a plan. We want to make a motion to change, or we don't need a motion to leave it the same. I do think there is consideration for Mike Patton and his association with it, because we don't Mike's obviously a member of the community, and I don't think he's on the field, but it would be nice to ask him, but we may not have the time to do that either. So.
Well, I don't know just how much it's gonna affect him, but it will affect him, and I'm worried about that, but.
Yeah, I think that deserves consideration. Well, we have 3 questions then. One, Mike. 2 would be the K3 paving. If we were able to research that by Monday or Tuesday.
Well, the problem is, Tri-County is planning to come in here on the 23rd and start cutting the paving.
So you've been in touch with them to letting them know that we may not be able to get the rock to them.
Oh, no, the rock's not a problem. It's
the cost of the rock.
The excess cost, yes. And then want to bring something else up to the board. Jerry Raybine had called me again the other day. He's a little upset about not working on his road. Said Panic promised this and Panic promised that. Panic hasn't told me anything about what he promised. I asked Gary Raybine at the time if it was verbal or if he had it in writing. If he had it in writing, show us so we know what we're supposed to do.
Right.
He wants that road widened so 2 cars can pass. That means removing trees and several loads of gravel put down, which would be pretty expensive.
So the roads budget is dwindling rapidly.
It's being hit pretty hard.
Okay.
But again, I don't have any idea what Randy promised. It's just his name keeps being thrown up there. And Jerry Raybine said, well, he's going to talk to his lawyer. And then that's when I asked him if he had it in writing. He could come in front of the board, show the board it was in writing, what was promised, and then we carry on from there. But then he kind of backhauled like he's going to have to look at it like maybe it was all verbal. So I think he's trying to pin me into something that him and Randy talked about was never wrote down.
Kevin,
Yeah, I can fill you in on some of that stuff.
Right.
There's a bid in that white book that you got from Ed, from Tri-County to gravel that road and do that road. So get that book out and read it. And hopefully it's still in there, but it's 700 lineal feet, that road, and you gotta improve.
Right.
Okay, all right. So as far as I know, look that up, see if there's specifications. I mean, it's been 3 years, I think, probably, since I was on the committee, so I'm going by.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah.
so that, just that bid that was put in was established by what? I remember.
The 700 feet.
Okay.
Okay, that's
That was just
40
asking.
acres. That's at 40 acres. That's all that you were required to do.
To that old gate.
Yeah, I went back through the resolution that we, passed in order to take on the Raybine property, and there was nothing specifically listed about road improvement on there, other than Jerry would take care of his roads and that, and so we are going to have to cover that 700 feet, but it didn't provide a description of what the road was supposed to look
Well,
like.
if you look at that bid, it'll tell you how much gravel is probably going to be put down.
Okay,
And that'll tell you the length, the depth, and the width.
right.
So that'll tell you.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I didn't know that bid existed, so
Well, in my public testimony, you'll maybe answer some questions for me. And
Sure.
clear this up.
Hey, Bob, is there any chance that High Desert, if we agree to shift to them, that they could contract Mike Patton to keep him whole, or?
I could ask. I have no idea, but I could sure ask.
I mean, that just might be a way to, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, save us some money, but also make sure we don't impact Mike.
Right. I'll make the phone call. I'll find out.
Well, do we have an ability, we have,
There's another question or statement up there too. Sorry, I was drinking.
That's from Morgan. It says Henry, but that's Morgan.
that I don't know. Tough. Can you ask them to lower their bid?
Who, Tri-County?
Yeah.
I've also asked them to, on the crack sealing, to give us a price if they decide not to crack seal and we could do it. They came back with a $2,700, which is ridiculous. You know, because they have a lot of patching that should have been done. They
The
don't.
last time they were.
Right, so.
Well. Okay.
If we're gonna do some more investigating on these questions that have been asked here, would it not be prudent to get that third bid while we're doing this, while we're waiting before we make a decision?
Well, again, we have to do it pretty quick, and yeah, I would like to have another bid. It doesn't hurt.
Well, if they can get one, and it's gonna take you at least Monday or Tuesday to get your answers correct.
Right.
If they can get something Monday or Tuesday, then
Well, I can
why
make-
wouldn't we
I
consider
can make a
that?
phone call,
If you would, Dave, I'd
and you
appreciate it.
can take it from there and show the scope of the work.
Right.
They are local, and I've seen their work.
Well, everything's painted out for them to look, you know, so it's 27 patches total.
You know, you can still leave Mike Patton in there, you just say your scope of work excludes this part. Or you can have them include that part as an alternate.
Yeah, with the new company, yes.
With the new company.
Right,
You know,
right.
I
And
would
then-
probably do it as total scope of work alternate is this. So
Uh-huh.
you got to build the part already.
Right. I'll get with Mike and ask him what his bid was on it, and then I will contact High Desert to see if they're open to having Mike do the prep work.
No. Well, then what we end up with, we have to have this decision made by Wednesday. That would be our drop dead date. that we
Well-
can get Stuff in.
Can I have the board make one decision that either or, you know, I mean, if Tri-County Desert, you know, let's see, find out which one we're gonna use. If High Desert is lower and I can get them to use Mike Patton, then we have an agreement to cancel Tri-County, or you want to stay with Tri-County and spend the extra?
Well, I think a couple of board members have expressed that they didn't want to go any, well, we don't have any more money. We can't, we've got to cut wherever we can cut. So we're kind of in
Well.
that position. So if we can save $12,000, we pretty much have to go in that direction.
I do agree. You know, that's why it's being brought up, not just slid under.
Somebody want to make a motion to that effect?
So Randy Geisler just made a comment as well.
Yeah, we, essentially, that's what we're talking about, is contingent upon what you find out. But we need to be able to, Bob's looking for a decision on what to do with roads, whether to go with High Desert or Tri-County. At this point, the motion would be to cancel the Tri-County contract and accept the High Desert bid on the contingency that of what you find out through your research. But the decision has to be made by the 18th.
Can we make one other exclusion that we do away with Tri-County if I can get High Desert to use Mike? I hate to kick Mike out of some
Yeah.
work that he's trying and did a lot of research on. He's ready to do it and got crews and trucks and whatever that, you know. And that's important, you know, he's,
It is,
you know,
it is.
Okay, so what was the motion again?
Well, we don't really have a motion yet.
Okay,
Just a second. So then you want to put that motion to the board that we switch the companies contingent upon High Desert accepting Mike Patton's,
Pre-work.
pre-work, if that's what we would call it, pre-work, okay.
Yes, absolutely. Prep work, yeah.
Okay,
Were you gonna look at the other one, Kate?
Yes, yeah. Dave will call them for me, so we'll see what they have to offer.
right now, we have to just deal with
The one.
the two companies that we have and move that forward, so.
Okay, so we have switch companies contingent upon High Desert accepting Mike Patton's prep work.
Yes.
Can I just jump in here for a second? We can't afford to not go with High Desert. And I appreciate everybody's concerns about Mike Patton, but I don't think that it's in the community's best interest to flip to a $12,000 more expensive company if High Desert doesn't approve Mike. I don't understand that.
Well, that's just a consideration that we're looking at, so if we wanna change that, and that's not to be a consideration, that's a decision that the board has to make.
Well, I kind of think it's a call to High Desert with a strong, with a request to help out Mike. But if they say no, then what do we do?
I think considering the third bid will help us out on making a decision.
Agreed. Plus, like Tom said, what if? Well, if they don't, then we'll still go with High Desert, because like you said, it's $12,000 difference. I just hope they will let Mike Patton do the prep work.
And I do too. So you got to put your selling shoes on.
Yeah, gotta do some work.
Okay, so then the basic motion could go back to Reed, and nobody's made the motion yet, but the motion would be to change from Tri-County to High Desert.
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody want to make that motion? Nobody must think.
Does the board have to make the motion?
No,
Well, then I make the motion that we drop Tri-County and High Desert, take the bid.
So you're not gonna get a third bid.
Well, right now, it's like Bill said, we're stuck on time. Well, we can get a third bid, and if it's a lot lower, then
How are you stuck on time?
we may.
you only got 3 more months that you could actually do any kind of asphalt.
Okay, the issue basically that we have is the motion is to change from Tri-County to High Desert, because that's the dilemma that we have right now. If the third bid comes in and it becomes an option, and it's a viable option for us to do, meaning that it fits the money, it fits the time, then the board can take a look at that particular thing and make that change. But that has to happen in a very timely fashion. And we have to move forward on this just so that we know. We've got at least this portion of it started. We know that we're down to High Desert. Now, if something comes in and that gets an option to change, then we'll change it. But we have to do this now. We have to get this part.
I know K3 would like to get in here. They do nice work.
Well, let's give them a shot, but let's at least ask. That doesn't hurt that. So Bob's got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Karen?
Yeah.
Tom?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes. Okay. So, other than the Rabine questions that you brought up, that's all you have for roads?
Yep, pretty much.
Kevin?
I found the specs on that.
Oh, did you?
I got my computer here.
Perfect.
So, it's, according to this, and I believe this is what's in the Rabine, it's 1,460 feet by 12 feet wide. So that's not too far.
That's not a two-lane road.
It's a 4-inch compacted base. It includes grading, watering, and compaction. And that was a bid in July of 2020. So that'll change, but at least I would give you, that's the specifications that I remember. Now Randy would have to.
Well, at least it's in writing. That's something we didn't have
Well,
before.
this is the proposal that I got for that.
Were there any culverts in that?
No. Mm-mm.
So that lower area it's in there, they were just gonna, there wasn't.
Well, all it says is build subgrade using existing material, grade and compact,
Okay,
2,000 yards.
Yeah, okay.
okay. That gives us something to start with.
Right.
Perfect. Thank you, Kevin.
And that was a bid by Tri-County.
Thank you. Well, that particular thing we can put out for the 3 companies to bid on. That's a whole different.
Correct. Yeah. I was just letting you know that's who did that.
Perfect.
So, how many bids did you get when you got that, Kevin?
One. We couldn't get anybody back in the day to do much, really, come up here. So, I mean, and this was just for purposes of the Rabine agreement too. So,
How much was the bid?
20 grand. I'm sure that's probably higher now.
Almost guaranteed.
Is that something Mike could do with his equipment? I have no
It's
idea.
something that the road committee can take care of, yes.
That wasn't his question.
Well, Mike doesn't have a compactor for one.
Yeah, he does.
He has a,
He doesn't have a big rolling one, but he's got a.
well, yeah, but you're
I won't
talking
speak.
thousands of feet, 1,000 feet of, yeah.
I'm just saying it might be an olive branch if we, if High Desert can't use him, if that's something he can do, maybe we can work something out there.
Oh, excellent idea, yes.
Okay. Bob, you okay from that?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now that something's in writing, we know where to go.
We got it. We've got something that was proposed for it, so perfect. Okay, so we're opening the floor for public comment. Those in the room or on Zoom? Hands up.
For all general comment.
General comment.
Okay, I just want to say one thing. I want to say thank you to Michelle Patton, Mary Graff for all their clerical work put in for the new gate. I want to thank Steve Grania for his really long hours of making the gate system work, and especially Ryan Nobles for picking out a really awesome gate system. So, and then the other thing I want to say is, I'm not sure if everybody on the board knows it, but the marina is on the market as of yesterday.
Good.
And if Three Rivers wants to pursue the marina, I own several commercial businesses. I don't advertise it to anybody. I have lots of commercial experience, and I would like to represent Three Rivers if they chose to move forward on the marina.
Okay. We have a task force that headed our big man here. He's gonna be developing those things, and so we'll keep that. We're gonna leave it kind of up to the task force to come up with their plan and suggest it to the boards, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Other comments?
Ow.
Come on, I'll bet
I'm
that.
fine, I'm fine. So I just want to bring up, thank you very much for letting the opportunity of Kyle and Tabitha and Sherry for doing the Labor Day games. It went off great. Thank you, everybody that showed up. Going forward though, can we set some codes up so when people donate money and stuff, it's set into those funds for, you got Easter, you got Bears and Quilts and Labor Day games. Can we get codes set up and make sure that money goes in there? We know how much we can spend. And can we start spending that money now? Like Black Friday and stuff like that, to buy
Well,
stuff
let's
now,
ask-
it's way cheaper.
Let's get the first question answered first. And Arlene that spoke up. Rob, can you answer his comment question?
Yeah, can you repeat the question, Kevin, or comment?
Yeah. Under the volunteer funds, you have one generic code there. Is there subcodes underneath there where we can track the money for Easter, track it for Bears and Quilts, and also for Labor Day games? We have people donating money and we're not sure where that money is going. We just want to make sure it goes to the right place.
Yes, let me just take a quick look at something.
I could comment a little bit on, historically, I believe that when we had income coming in from different volunteer events, oftentimes you would go into a budget that was on in the operating budget. And then that money would then be transferred back to prepay things for Labor Day games or Easter. And what I had recommended is a volunteer fundraising committee is essentially self-funded. And that we have, when money gets deposited, like Easter, we had $6,750 deposit. And we put that in the volunteer fundraising committee income as a donation. But so we have a bingo, we have, and then just one other line item that's just donations. And I agree with you that we should, and I think this would be logical to do this on this next, in November when we do the budgeting, that we have a bunch of money in the volunteer fundraising committee now. We break that out and apply that, for 2025. We have a very clear budget on bingo, Labor Day games, Easter. I wasn't aware that Bears and Quilts were part of the volunteer fundraising committee. That was kind of separate, but if it needs to fold in there, that'd be fine. That'd be my recommendation.
Yeah, and it looks like we have 89520 is the general donations fund. So we could probably look at doing like 89521 for X, and then 22 for Y, and 23 for Z, that sort of thing. So I'm sure we can have account numbers, and we'll just have to tell Fieldstone where to guide those funds to.
And then just an additional on that, we moved a lot of things to online paying. So just keep that in mind, because that could be, I know in the past, people were donating to another company and we were waiting for that company holding our money hostage to put it back into the account. So we can instead eliminate that and go straight to donation into the account, and it goes straight to the account.
Okay, now the second part of your question, the second question, Kevin, was distribution of the funds.
Right.
Okay, there is essentially a $2,000 limit that before the board looks at it.
Okay.
But with Kyle, but his plan, and we're trying to incorporate it all into a more business-like operation, and they will have the budget, they will have income and expense. They have to create a more direct accounting system for it. And that way the account could create its own card, it could do whatever, and they would be responsible for, because it's their money to put out however it is. but it has to be accounted for.
Right.
That's the thing that we're having. The biggest issue is right now is
That's
it's
what I'm
kind of this
saying.
gray area where this amount of money and there's a transparency act that's being, the Treasury Department has come up with for federal government. And if we don't match up with that, that's considered money laundering. And I just sat through a 1 hour class on that this week, and it's getting, if it does go through, it's in the courts to be challenged right now, but if it makes it through, then there's everybody on the volunteer fundraising committee who controls anything on that has to personally sign up for that, and they are subject to they're subject to a $500 fine, but they're subject to 2 years in jail. And my wife was listening to the conversation when she said, you could go to jail for 2 years at 74 years old. No, she said, you're not gonna do that. So we have to kind of watch out, and we'll have to be careful on that. So we'll cover that, but that's something we really.
Yeah, we
wanna
just
get
want
done.
to start shopping earlier this year. We only
Yeah.
had 2 weeks last year. You know, get good deals Black Friday. Amazon has a lot of sales. And
Right.
stuff like we want to get stuff, put it in here.
And that's what we set this room aside for,
Yeah.
so that you'd have the room to start storing. This have to be dry storage.
It went off great.
It was, yeah, it was very.
Thank you, that was very good.
I think the only complaint I got was it was a little too hot, so maybe a cooling station. Or maybe we start a little early, maybe 10 or 11. I mean, there's different things we can look at, talking about deals.
Bob?
There was a question brought up there about the marina. Does anybody know what they're asking for it now?
I can speak to
7
that.
million.
So,
7 million.
yeah, 7 million.
Just for the marina, not the whole thing.
It's the whole thing down there.
He has also 3
All
lots that go with it, yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, so I spoke with Warren, a week and a half ago. I have another meeting with him next week. We left the meeting with him telling me there are 2 things that you can walk away with. One is for sale, and I want $7 million. The marina, you know, I don't have it mapped here with me, but it's the parking lot, the marina itself, the store. There was a measure 47.
49.
49.
37.
37, 49. That gives him the ability to break that piece up into 3 individual lots. So, you know, the potential or the risk, you know, is that, you know, you can sell those off and people can do what they want down there. You know, it's unclear to me on whether or not those are buildable lots, you know, and residential.
You have to go to the county and
Right.
double check that. Usually measure 49 allows for building.
Right. So, I mean, there's some risk. I mean, we're in the investigation stage right now. And there's a lot more work to be done. You know.
Just another note on that. I don't know if anybody's aware, but the Anderson property is pending as well. And that's not part of 3 Rivers, but it's that whole strip from Fly Creek in. So that just went pending. And so that was 1.2 million. I don't know what it's gonna sell for, and I don't know who the buyer is, but that is gonna be another issue for the board to look at if that gets annexed into 3 Rivers or what happens
It's
with
already
all
in
of
the
that.
3 Rivers.
Hmm?
It's already in the 3 Rivers.
Anderson's is?
I thought they did that.
That's what we did like 2
Oh.
years ago.
Okay, well,
He
I
pays
didn't know that.
dues.
Spencer
Okay,
has
great.
it now.
Yeah,
Okay, so anyway, those are 5 developable lots.
no, not necessarily.
Well, they say on the listing.
I know.
5 houses are allowed. So I don't know.
Well, there's more.
Yeah, there's more to the story probably, but just so we know.
How long has the marina fund been?
2008.
And it's still under $1 million? How long do you think?
941,000.
Huh?
941,000.
Yeah, I said it's still under $1 million.
Yeah.
So how long would it take in our lifetime to ever come up with 7 million?
Well, that's a question that the task force is gonna come up with.
Yeah, it's just
That's a
ridiculous.
discussion for down the road. We'll do that. Kevin,
Yeah, can I talk for my public testimony?
yes, you can. This is time.
So it's for roads. I think it's beneficial to notify for a monthly meeting. I haven't seen one. And I think it should be held in a public place. And I know this was brought up before. But on the website, I got on there and I have seen no agendas, no minutes, no proposed budgets, no proposals. And sounds like you had a road meeting here this morning. And I'm not here to be negative. I'm
It's
just
on
here
the board at the
I'm-
office. It's not my responsibility to put it on Facebook. I don't do Facebook.
Can I
It was
finish?
posted.
Can I finish?
Bob,
Okay.
hang on, Bob, let me finish.
I wasn't, I don't interrupt you.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Anyway, I'm speaking, I think Bill is the liaison, aren't you, Bill, to the road committee?
Yes,
Okay, so it's actually going to Bill, Bob, and I just think you've got a budget of almost $200,000 and we don't see any numbers, but yet your association has a budget of over 200,000 and you got spreadsheets. So that's all I'm trying to say is some of the stuff could have been done before this meeting instead of in September. But I just wanted to make the point that I haven't seen anything on it. Anyway, that's it. No more comment other than that.
okay, under the new way things are set up, we're using the website as kind of the only communication. We do have and I know there wasn't anything posted on the website. There wasn't anything, this came up,
Last meeting.
was it Penny? Yeah, it came up last meeting as well. There was a question brought up and we didn't get a public spot. We were gonna hold one at the event center and that didn't happen. So, as far as advertising it, right now, there won't be, Facebook. Can we put, there isn't anything.
There is
I
a
mean-
calendar on the website.
That's what we
Yeah.
go with.
And you can put anything on the calendar, and that's what's been happening for the few and far between meetings that have happened as they get posted on the website. If we want to take an extra step, this would get a little bit muddy by putting an email out for everyone, but that's an option. But the baseline is the calendar. All landowners that have access to the website will have access to the calendar, and the calendar will state location, time, and date.
Correct, and I think Michelle Patton is on there and I responded to her picture right here. And so today I kind of traversed this morning, which I've never been on. A lot of people probably haven't been on the website yet, and people will get better with it. But that's where, it should be posted, at least the meeting time and an agenda and minutes from the last meeting. I mean, that's how it kind of used to go. That's how you communicate with your, and I think it'd be good.
You're spot on. The design is that the website is the platform, and then all the chair members create their minutes which is by law of Oregon,
Yeah.
and then capture their minutes and then post them. As far as the calendar goes, I think there's only a few people that can post the items on the calendar, but a simple email can get them posted. I've done it several times myself. Michelle has done it several times. But that's the design. You're absolutely correct. There's folders for the files for the minutes, and they're all segregated into committees.
Correct.
And that's how it's supposed to operate.
Yeah, I did look at it this morning and it's getting there, and I'm not I'm just asking if it would be nice to, maybe if I could attend a meeting, if I knew about it. And I just haven't seen anything since March.
Okay, correct. So what we'll do then is we'll put that out for the next month, for October. We'll have it posted within the next week or so, and then we'll have the October meeting. And if possible, if we can make it the same day of the month, or, like if you do it Saturday.
I do it 3 days before the board meeting.
Oh, yeah, or a week before the board meeting, so we can get the information typed up.
Yeah.
But you can use the annex, and, okay, Bob, I want to make this perfectly clear, okay? You could look at that calendar and there's no architectural committee meeting on there, there's no, any of the committees that are out there. Nobody has posted that out.
That's correct.
Because
That's
it has
correct, Bill.
What?
That's incorrect, because I know for a fact the communications and the rules and regs have posted their.
Sorry, we have two of them that have done that.
Yeah,
There are
rules and
other
regs.
committees that need to get stepped up to it. I stand corrected, but we all need to use that a little bit more.
I did post it on the board.
Yep.
You know, and it's at the same place, the event center.
That's, we'll put it on we'll step into the 21st century together and we will post that online. We'll get it on the website and we'll. Okay,
So, and there was no roster on there or anything, so I just don't know who's on the committee, you know, being an ex-committee member.
Okay.
You know, like anybody that's a homeowner here would like to.
we'll get that up there.
There is a committee tab and it will label, I don't know how accurate it is at this moment, but I do know one issue is if you have people in multiple committees, it won't let you put them in both. I'm not saying that we can't fix it. It's color inside the lines type of situation, but it's giving us a platform to work with better than what we had. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that it's all up to date. We've been fighting other fires, but it's there
I'm not
for
here
the.
to do that. I mean, I just traversed it, just trying to kind of see what's going on. But other than that, it looks good.
I don't, you'd have to answer that question.
Yes. That's what I was saying a minute ago is that the way it's designed is that the chair holders will post their minutes after they capture them from their meeting. I just don't know if they have the ability to put their own meeting on the calendar. I've had to put other people's events on the calendar myself. Michelle can probably answer that, but by design, what we'd like is to have the chair of each committee do everything as far as putting their date, setting their meeting, putting the date on the calendar, capturing the minutes, putting the minutes in their committee files. And the committee files will probably be in like a separate tab of files, just like you would find our board of directors monthly minutes. It won't be like you go to committees and then click minutes. It'll be you go to files and click committees and then minutes.
Saw that today.
Yeah, so you'll have to somewhat learn the website a little bit, but it's the ability to capture it all is definitely there. We just all have to start utilizing it. And it's not gonna be for communications to just know all these dates and input all this information.
No, I know it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll work on it. Thank you, Phil, for bringing that up. It's good to have an outside look at it. We'll get on it. We'll make it work.
As for Randy's comment, there already is a place in documents. So yeah, as he said, isn't there a place in documents on the website? There is. So that's where we post all the agenda and everything for this, as well as anybody that has meetings, committees that have meetings should be going out. They all have access to go out and post to that as well. And upload their documents. And there's a calendar out there that you have access to, as the committee has access to post to, the committees, landowners have access to view.
Anything else from public testimony?
Bill, this is John. Going back to the improvement on the Rabine Road, over the last couple of years, I've had discussions with Jerry and Randy and the 40-acre group that reviewed the study group on how the association may use that 40 acres. And in the future, I'd like to at least look at the option of relocating that road before we put, that kind of investment in it. I'm not a road guy. I don't know if it's feasible, but if we could at least look at going off from the landing up above the range where that 90-degree corner is and dropping a road in, it's about 700 feet or so into Jerry's Gate. That property is 1,260 feet according to the map, going from gate to gate on the existing road. There is about every 20 years, enough runoff has gone through that canyon to threaten that road down there. Right now, the way it's situated, it actually goes out in front of the firing line of the range. As far as how the association could use the 40 acres as far as an archery range and the capture pond and some of the things that we're recommending, A lot of that utilization would be based upon the ability to relocate that road. So maybe I could work with Bob a little bit. I don't know who might be able to estimate costs, but if we could at least look at that before that's moved forward on.
Well, then, let's put it down to where you and Bob get together, and keep Jerry in the loop. Really, all Jerry needs is a road that connects to his gate, which is on the other side of the 40 acres. So if we can get that plan in place, but you need to be able to visit with Bob because there's gonna be a cost involved, and then we're going to have to get the bids out on that. And, as was mentioned earlier, that would be something possibly that Mike could look at to do if we get it out of the way. So Bob, do you have any comment on that?
I brought that up with Jerry Rabine yesterday when I talked to him to get with John to find out exactly where John wanted to put the rifle range and the archery range, because my understanding by talking with John, that road may be moved. So there wasn't any reason to put the money into where the road is right now.
Right.
And if we left it where it is, then John's rifle range would be shooting over the top of it.
Well,
So
he's got a lot of accuracy.
yeah, but yeah, so John's aware of it, and I would get with John and we'll find out if there's a second way that we can move the road.
Can we do that and have a plan for next meeting that we can look at on that, so that we can keep moving forward for Jerry to get him?
Yeah, he's a little upset right now, so.
We'll see what we can get done. If we're gonna have to change the road.
Well, thanks to Kevin, we knew that there was actually something wrote down in paper now, so.
Yeah, and that was preliminary. I would speak with Randy, and see if there's anything in those documents, but that's what I got written down.
There wasn't anything in the documents that were filed with Jefferson County.
But I mean, in the agreement that we have with him, that, doesn't he have a licensing agreement?
Yeah,
Building contact?
that's the file, that's in Jefferson
Oh,
County.
is that what it is? Okay. But anyway, that gives you a little bit to go off of.
Okay, that works. Okay? Any other public
Thank you.
testimony? Thanks, John. Okay, old business. Is Steve on the line?
Don't think yet.
I could be.
He could
He's
be.
serious.
I
Yeah,
hear him.
I could be online.
Well, you're not here, so.
No.
Can you give us a keeper update?
I'm hanging with my family right now, but glad to give you a gate report. Are you ready?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, all right. The QR reader for the post at the gate has malfunctioned. It has been reset and working at this time. We will be doing testing daily to see if that is a problem with the reader and may need to be replaced. I would like to keep in stock a new reader just in case it goes bad. We'll be talking to the electric company on that tomorrow. Cards and tags inventory is low. Need some approval whether we can order some more. We're about 100 to 25 cards left, 0 cards left on windshield tags, and we have about 75 headlight tags. The entrance gate has been noted that it will stay up. If the setting sun at this time of the year hits the safety beam, it stays up because it thinks something's there. Lasts about 20 minutes. I've checked, there is not a repair for that we can do. That's just happens to be when the sun is at the angle to aim right at that beam. There's nothing we can do about it. I wish there was. Lastly, I am having trouble with communicating with our fire chief and him wanting more and more entrance ability. Not agreeing with it. I'll discuss this with Dave and go from there on a decision that we can make with the fire department.
Do they have access now?
They have multiple access. We have complete our responsibility for a Knox switch. All of Jefferson County Sheriff, Fire, Emergency, Medical has a key, including Don Kofeld's in every vehicle. I put tags so the gate will automatically open for all of their fire vehicles. They have been given my personal passes that he requested for some employees that come through the gate. And that's where I have a question. And I think he should be giving those tags, QR exceptions when he wants somebody in. He wants them to use their own personal vehicles to come through. I saw a vehicle using that QR code that I'd given him that I did not recognize the employee or the vehicle. So that's why I'm concerned about it.
There's a question from Randy.
Steve, you probably can't see it. It says, is there a way to shade the beam from the sun to avoid the gate problem?
Big billboard on the west side. It would have to be quite large.
So the Don Kofeld issue, I'm gonna reiterate some things he's already said. All of the Lake Chinook fire and rescue vehicles have two modes of entry, one being a US standard per the county key, and then one being the donation from Three Rivers Landowners Association on all the same exact vehicles to automatically open the gate when they pull up. What Don feels entitled to is that, let me stop that and back up a little bit more. Steve has gone to the county and given out a permanent code to law enforcement and fire and rescue, not specific to Lake Chinook Fire and Rescue, per their request. The number that they got was the number that they wanted, and only they had that. Now, what Don feels entitled to is that he allows non-emergency state vehicle personnel to come into the association for various reasons. He wants to give out full reign through the gate, through a code or multiple codes. When you do that, you have now lost the security of the code because it's a free-flowing code. My opinion is that he needs to create lists for those people to come through the gate and present them to the office, and those people can enter the office and explain who they are and then be let through the gate. But to give out more codes is just compromising the whole point of the security entirely. He does not agree with that. He very passionately disagrees with that. This is Don that I'm speaking about. But I want to be perfectly clear. Lake Chinook fire and rescue vehicles can get through the gate two different ways. So there's no restriction on getting an emergency vehicle through the gate. There's no restriction from getting the county emergency vehicles through the gate. It's all the outside resources that we're talking about here.
What would be an outside resource?
To be honest with you, I don't even know. I know that the ODF maybe do some research.
I can tell you, I can tell you, like Levi, as an example, is one of the guys on Lake Chinook Fire, and he has to drive his own vehicle to come in and out of the gate to do Firewise stuff. So he drives his own rig, comes in and out of the gate. He doesn't have a way of coming in and out right now. So, I mean, he does because they gave him a temporary code off of a personal account for him to be able to do that work. So that would be an example. You're right, ODF and W might come in to do some work. And Steve, I see your hand up. You might have more.
Thank you. I also forgot to mention that permanent code that I gave for emergency service that all Jefferson County has, including Dawn. We had a conversation. Dawn called me and wanted access for one of these employees. And I told him to give him a code himself out of his ability. And he argued with me. It was not a fun conversation. He ended up giving this person the emergency code of all of Jefferson County. So he basically jeopardized that code, and I may have to change it with his attitude. So that means I have to go back to all Jefferson County emergency services and make a new code if I shut that off. So he's arguing with me that I told him to give that code. And I said, no, I told him to make your own code with your own abilities through PropTIA. And he's arguing with me. So I didn't bring it up because it's pretty volatile, this guy. So if you guys want to make a decision at this meeting on how to handle him, that would be great.
Well, I think what Ryan went through was spot on. Like that's their only form of access, and that's the only form that we can approve. Like, I don't know if we need our attorney to establish a statement or something, but that's just ridiculous that he's putting up a fight against multiple forms of access that you've given him. I mean, I don't think you can do any more, Steve.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if these people are coming in for non-emergency situations, it only takes a minute. The office is open during working hours. They should be able to go to the office and have, them, show credentials and be admitted that way. But giving out our passcodes to the whole world is unacceptable.
Is John still at the meeting? John Gottbright?
He's online.
He's online, so he can hear you.
John, would you give him the example of what you're doing with the contractor for the gun range?
Yeah, actually, it's not related to the gun range, but Lake Chinook Fire had a grant that they successfully got to continue Firewise projects alongside roads within their fire district. And Don, to me, graciously offered to do 2,900 feet from our pavement area on Rifle Range Road, further clearing brush, trees, limbing stuff up, removing the laddering type fuels, 50 feet uphill and 50 feet downhill. And he hired a contractor to move in and do this. They were, as far as I know, we're thinking about starting Thursday or Friday. I sent Bill an email that Don, or a text, I forget which, sent to me. Bill thought it was a great idea, as I did. Should have probably talked to Bob as well to make sure they don't tear up the road while they're doing this. I don't know what kind of equipment they're bringing in, but it is through Lake Chinook Fire, a grant they received, and they wanted to do this Rifle Range Road, which gives us a greatly improved fire break within Three Rivers. So that's pretty much what I know.
So to add to that, this was another request, we'll call it another demand that he wanted the Three Rivers system to give that contractor a pass. And so I gave him another one of my passes to use, just because I was tired of arguing with him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, Bob.
John, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Adding on to what Steve was saying, one thing also that we did is some of the employees that the fire department has in place through a grant again are students. And these students through the grant get their college paid for, and they have to live at the fire station, and they fight fire, do whatever tasks that Don asks them to do. And to put a little pocket money in their pocket, little change in their pocket, I hired two of them to go down and help us with some work at the range this last week. And shame on me, I didn't give them a pass, kind of left that up to Don, I guess, or whatever access they had. So I kind of forgot that.
The moral of the story is that Don's giving out the permanent code that should be only used for fire and rescue outside of Lake Chinook Fire and Rescue. That's the moral of the story. So
Does the fire district have the ability to create codes just like the property owner could? Like if there's a contract, to me, it's all about who's responsible for the people coming in. So as a property owner, if I give a pass out, I'm responsible for that person. If the fire district is having somebody come in as a contractor to do some work, I mean, we need to have a way to give him a pass. Going to the gate is one option, but does he have the ability to go in and create a contractor pass?
not anymore.
Well, they are actually a part of Three Rivers. They're within our boundaries, so they should be the same as a landowner because they own.
Don is a property owner within Three Rivers.
Ability to put a contractor pass in. I mean, they're responsible. We know that they gave them the pass. They're responsible. I mean, it seems like a reasonable approach. Not that going to the gate is, and showing credentials, that's an option too. It's all about who's responsible.
But this is what happened whenever we did give him access to generate codes, is that the discussion came up with who's managing when an emergency happens. So you're gonna rely on an individual at the fire station to manage codes for emergency services. So that's why we took away the option for Don to generate codes, because that's what he was doing. So now we've made it human proof for emergency service to get stuck outside of the gate. Multiple avenues to dummy proof this.
But we have that one solved. We have the ability, there's a fire, they have the ability to get in. There's other scenarios, which I have a contractor coming in, fire wise or whatever, that says, hey, these guys are gonna come in and do some work that benefits our community. We gotta give them the code. That would be from Tuesday to Wednesday or whatever the day is. Is that not a reasonable thing to just give them the opportunity to say, I'm gonna give you a contract?
Let me sum this up. So I've given Don 2 guest passes from my account to use for contractors and his employees. So he has that. They are 30-day temporary passes. So the question in my mind is what you're discussing is Don is a landowner. He has that ability to give that same guest pass, just like all of us do. Does the board want to give the fire department guest pass ability? So it would be a separate entity. It'd be like us as landowners, individual landowners, it'd be the fire department having the ability to use the Promptia app for guest pass. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And if the fire district was to say, hey, I got a contractor coming in to do some work, and they give them a pass, they are responsible for their guests, just like any other landowner would be responsible for their own.
So Don does not want to give his, he does not want to use his ability as Don Kofelt to give out these passes, guest passes. So I don't know if he actually wants to give passes out himself, or he'd rather just call or use the office to do it. So you pick what you think we could do. And I have a question. So yes, he's the fire department, he's Lake Billy Chinook Fire Department. Is that part of our community. I know it's next door, but isn't that a separate lot? It's not part of the association property?
No, it's all one piece.
They pay dues.
No.
So that's where mine is. He's servicing, he's not just servicing us. He's servicing this whole area.
But I get it, giving it a little further thought, the property that the department sits on and that is under an easement which we granted to them. So they would be in a standalone position on that. They would be, once the easement was granted and it's recorded, then they would have the ability to do, which they do, whatever they want to with the property.
Does Three Rivers still own the property? It's just an easement, but it belonged to Three Rivers?
It was granted to the fire.
Okay.
That's why we were having an issue moving or trying to build a garbage drop-off spot where the dumpsters are, because the property was donated to the LCF&R, and the property line is literally right behind the dumpsters. So, yeah, that's it. I guess what I'm having trouble seeing is the urgency. All of these people who need to get in, there is no urgency for them to get in. They could come in. We're only trying to be convenient for them. You could call ahead and get a number.
Normal working hours.
Yeah, they would come in 9 to 5. I don't see the urgency to get these. I mean, they're like any other contractor who would come through the gate.
See, this is why I brought up the list to the office that Don can generate if he has all of these people that he wishes to come in and do work, is because I am fearful that Don will try to utilize a code to some emergency service and it gets confused and they pull up not knowing that they had a permanent code, and then they're stuck outside the gate trying to use what Don issued, but he didn't manage it and it expired. That's what I'm fearful of.
That's a bad one.
That is what I'm fearful of. So I don't understand why we can't stick to a standard that we've already allowed and satisfied Lake Chinook Fire and Rescue getting in and out without a hiccup. We've also established how the county fire and rescue can get in and out without a hiccup. Now we're in the middle of the two for non-emergency services for which Dawn is requesting access to. So I don't want to overlap the non-emergency into emergency, because that's when we set ourselves up for failure. And we've already had this happen more recently.
Right.
Yeah.
So Ryan, what happened before you got a new gate system? How, did he just have codes or?
So he had permanent codes. There were endless permanent codes out in the wild, and he would just give them out, and other people would give them out too, not just him, but like that was the standard of I have a code and it's been the code for 10 years and everyone knows the code, and hey, if you need it, I'll give you the same code. And
So that's all you had.
correct.
So there was really no compliance before.
Correct. And what happened was the software got shut off. We didn't have a knock switch at the time, so the ambulance got stuck outside the gate because the software was not opening on any code. No codes were working, and there's no switch. So
we did have a key, and Don had the key, and the gate would have operated with the operation of the key, but he did key. So
yeah.
There's some manual override there that was available, that was in his hand or in his pocket, and not used. So
I think we just keep it to the headlight tags already working. Like we keep it to the headlight tags. You got the Knox box. If there is a fire in Three Rivers, the gate's going to be open, and anybody else, they need to check in with the office, or if they're on Firewise, they check in with the chair of Firewise to get a pass.
Yeah, because they're not going to be doing Firewise at midnight. If Don would just say, hey, Joe Schmo and these 7 others are going to come in on Thursday, from Thursday to Friday, then all I have to do is go in and say, I'm Joe Schmo, and the person working in the office can just say, open the gate.
I agree that we have no recourse with the fire department like we do with the landowner. You know, you're responsible for your guests. So Three Rivers ultimately assumes the responsibility for letting these folks in. So I agree with Ryan. we need to keep this thing tight. And if somebody wants to come in, I'm okay with the committee chair for Firewise issuing the permit or doing something at the front gate. But I don't think the fire department should have the ability to make passes when they have no liability for their actions.
Okay. Yes, Bob.
I got a question for John. The contract that Don's talking about now, is he paying the people to come in and do the cleanup around the gun club?
Yeah, again, it's between Lake Chinook Fire and Three Rivers. The gun club's got really nothing to do with it other than I passed a message from the fire department to Bill. But they did hire the contractor. I can get you the name of the contractor. It's in that email I sent to Bill that Don provided because he wanted something in writing before he asked somebody to go in and do some work within Three Rivers, which was the prudent thing to do. So,
Was, Mike
anyways-
Patton did a great job before. Was he asked again to?
Well, okay, hang on, to clarify, this was a grant from the federal government to do one thing, to clear brush.
Right.
And that's all it was for. It isn't like it was a bid, they just offered to do this, so there's no Three Rivers funds going out for this at all, there's nothing happening. This is just something that came up as a grant from the federal government to do this project. So it wouldn't have been something to bid on or anything like that. We had the opportunity to take it, and so I chose to take that opportunity to make it happen.
Well, I know that before there was something put out that individuals couldn't get the grant no more. It had to be a company doing the work and so on.
Had nothing, that particular grant stream still exists and still has the same limitation. This grant came from a completely different thing. This was interagency. So this was a government giving a government agency the money to do something. What it was, that was the choice. And
So
the choice
individual
they-
companies didn't have any
No,
opportunity.
No.
Okay.
No.
All
This
right.
was something only that LCF&R made the decision.
So that's the people that want access into the gate.
Yes. Or Don wants them to have access, and they would only be coming through in business hours anyhow, so.
If I can add to this, the communication for the contractors doing Firewise, we need to set up a communication standard. So as a gatekeeper, I knew nothing of this. It was just an argument with Dawn. If I had communication that we're having a contractor do Firewise, I would have no problem with developing a 6-month pass, if that's how long it takes, or 30-day pass. I don't have any dates for what he wanted. So contractors and Firewise, I have no problem with that at all. The individuals wanting to come down to the lake to go swimming, and I'm using Don's words, that's what his request was for. Are you catching that?
Nope.
Yeah,
that's not cool.
or work with the plague.
Okay. The communication thing is noted.
Stay on the gatekeeper part for just a second, because
Yep.
I have a couple of bullets that are gonna tie into that. So some people have vehicles that are in business names. And these are owners of said businesses. So we have said that tags, RFID tags will only be issued out to deeded owners who show up on their registration. Can we entertain the idea of checking registration in a business name to match some other form of business ownership? Been approached by several people over this, so I'm bringing it up here.
You can look online on Oregon Business Registry and it'll list the owners of a business and an LLC, corporation, whatever.
Okay.
State or.
That's under the Secretary of State.
Yeah,
you can-
public information.
Or your driveway resident has the same. The question would be, does the property have the ability to separate that out? So.
No,
let's-
property itself, no, it'd be manually done by us, but we stuck to the rule of deeded owner to registration match. So
Okay,
now we need to go deeded owner to registration match to business, and then deeded owner to business owner match. So it'd be an additional form of
Step.
paperwork, additional step, but since we established the rule early without that.
right. Well, it's, okay, the whole thing has some fluidity to it. I mean, we've
Okay.
got to be at least aware. We're gonna have enough businesses in here that own, you know, some guy who's here has a business, he needs to be able to get in. We should be able to recognize that if it's something that we can work with him. Sounds like we can. We want to change our idea that would have to be an agreement to the directors, so we need a motion that would do that.
Okay. I don't have this one written out, so this one might be fun.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to have the language that's gonna need to have. So.
Would this be an amendment, or would this just be
No,
a new
this would be an
motion?
emotion, this would be a motion that would give additional. We're not amending anything, we're just having to.
So new one, to incorporate the addition, okay, I'd like to make a motion, that RFID tags can be issued to deeded owners with vehicles in their company's business name with proof of ownership to match vehicle registration.
It's a little wordy, but it.
Like I said, I didn't write it down, just I was off the top.
Can we amend that to one vehicle instead of vehicles?
Why one vehicle? They've got many vehicles.
So one vehicle, okay. Can you get her to type what you're writing down? Did you write it all down?
I was stopped because RFP tags can be issued to deeded landowners in business name with proof of business, right?
Yeah. She writes it up. Oh, can you make that bigger? I see it on, yeah. Okay, yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that one RFID tag per property can be issued to deeded landowners that, okay, I'm gonna mess this up again.
Why don't you write it and then we can come back to it?
Why just one vehicle? If a company has, a landowner has a company with multiple vehicles, they're going to drive a different rig depending on what they're using it for, especially if they're using it to help us out here. Say for beach cleanup, they're gonna bring a larger vehicle in sense than what they normally drive. I don't see a problem if we they have proof that they own those vehicles through their LLC or business with a tag. It generates money for us. We have to pay off a debt. I just think about that.
Well, as a
think the
landowner,
difference
I can only get a tag for my wife and myself. And if you're saying now you're a business and you've got 6 trucks or whatever, now we just opened up the gates to 6 more people that we don't know.
That would be the risk.
Yeah,
depending on size.
that's correct. But if you own 6 vehicles, we have that ability to buy as many tags as we have vehicles as landowners. So kind of confusing on that part of it. So Tom, if you own 6 vehicles, you can have 6 tags, if I understand our rule correctly.
Excuse me, Ryan, do you have a vendor deal for this? Or like a contractors or what?
For,
Like these companies you're talking about?
no, this is for, say my neighbor owns a business and he drives his business truck for his main vehicle. Well, right now, the rule states that he can't get a tag to go through the gate as a deeded owner because his registration shows the business name, not his name.
Okay.
So to get his tag on him for his primary vehicle as a deeded owner, if he could show that he owns the business, then he can get the tag. And I'm kind of agreeing with Tom here because say someone does own a giant business with 40 vehicles, he has the right to buy 40 tags if we go that route. It is opening that door in the wrong direction. It's allowing the people with only 2 business vehicles to get them, but it opens the door for someone with endless vehicles through their business to get them. So I'm kind of in agreement with Tom here.
And that's the convenience, right? I mean, as a business owner, you could still make them a visitor and enter in your vehicle and give them visitor access. So what this is just doing is the convenience of an RFID.
That is absolutely correct, because you already have your 2 tags per property, so on and so forth. The RFID tags are, like she said, a convenience. They're on top of all the other credentials, so.
So then we
We
don't need
only
to
have
vote.
2 tags per property. I don't know how, I've got more than 2 vehicles.
No,
Two cards.
Two cards, yeah. You can buy endless RFID tags if you have 8 vehicles, well, not endless, but if you have 8 vehicles in your name, Tom, to your property here, you can get 8 for all 8 of them.
We gotta rethink that.
Cards, or you only get 2 white cards.
So then the motion is not needed. Or
No, it still needs to be needed because of the business part, because a lot of business owners live or own property here. And they are not able to
Private
buy the
business.
tag because their primary vehicle is in their business name.
So we would be limiting it to 1 tag per vehicle,
or 2. So that's what,
or 2 tags.
So that would be the discussion, 1 or 2, yeah.
And can we change from will to can? Or maybe?
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Make a motion that 2 RFID tags can be issued to landowners who own a business with proof of ownership of said business. Yeah.
For business vehicles. Because I want to get RFID tags for my personal vehicles, but I'll limit 2 for business. Would that be correct?
2
So I could have 4 RFID tags, but 2 on business vehicles.
Well, personally, you can have as many as you want.
If my personal vehicles, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Example for our business, for Daycon. We have a brush truck, we have a water truck, we have the dump truck.
Right.
Multiple vehicles. I'm not using those to go in and out of the gate, mainly having one for the dump truck so he doesn't have to climb in and out of the truck for a card. But it might be handy to have the RFID so the brush truck can run in and out to Marthaler's dump if we have to dump brush down there and not have to get in and out of the truck. If we have to get the water truck down to Forest Park, might be handy for that. So that's an example of us having a 1-man company, basically not 40 employees for the company, but having the access to RFID tags. But we can use our card either too. So I don't really care in my situation, but that was just an example as a business maybe needing more than RFID tags.
Okay.
So really it needs to be 2 tags can be issued to business vehicles by deeded landowners.
Correct.
Who own a business with proof of ownership of business. It needs to be vehicle, and that's what
correct.
you look at it long term. It needs to be to the vehicle.
So like that, then Karen.
By deeded landowners. Right? That says who can do it, who own a business who own the vehicle, or no, just, that's okay, who own a business.
No, tags can be issued to
Business
to be applied to, or
For business vehicles by deeded landowners. So what it says is they get 2 RFID tags for their business vehicles, as long as you show proof of ownership. Sorry.
Purchased.
Yes, purchased.
Can be purchased, not
Yeah.
issued.
Yeah.
I think we need a hard limit on these RFID tags stuck to cars.
I disagree. What's a hard limit on the RFID tags? I disagree.
Well,
Yeah, I
what's,
do too.
what's
I
the
like
difference?
how
If you
that-
give those things out, you might as well give them you can give, that's the same as a permanent pass.
It's not though, Tom, because the office is requiring these, when they come in to purchase these, to show the registration of the deeded owner. So you cannot come in with a family of 17 kids that, and put out 17 RFID tags when these kids aren't on the deed. So you're limited to the actual deeded owners here that get the RFID tags. So if it, personally, I have 4 vehicles. I have the ability to get 4 RFID tags. Those are all in my name, registered in my name. So, but if you start taking these big families and pretty soon you go out and issue 17 of them and they're handed out to everybody, I agree with you. That's why they check the registration before they're issued.
So I have 3 cars. One is a little sports car. I would never take to Three Rivers, but I can get an RFID card. And if I was a dishonest person, could I not give that to my neighbor?
But if we saw that occurred, we can immediately deactivate that card.
And the picture's being taken as soon as it gets.
I mean, yes, in your statement, Tom, that is something that could occur.
until we get the license reader.
Let me add to this if I can. So we'll start all over here. Our cards, there's only 2 per lot. The reason for that, in my mind, is that cards can be easily passed to anybody. A tag that is stuck to a vehicle can't be removed and stuck on another one. To add to this motion, make it so that the office installs the tag on the vehicle for the LLC.
No, that's
what we've been doing.
That way the placement's right. So if the office does it.
But you just have to watch the video. It's really simple.
Yeah, but it is actually more secure for.
It
you have-
is more
if-
secure. We can't, Steve, we can't be all things to all people. At some point in time, we've got to draw the line in the sand and say, this is what we're gonna do. We're making an effort, we're doing what we can. Yes, there may be some unscrupulous people, but out of the 1,406 people that have property up here, I'm gonna say there aren't any unscrupulous ones in the bunch. We're just going to do what we can with this and move forward. We have a good motion. We have a second for this motion. I know you can't do it.
You're looking at me.
No, I'm just.
Yes, I'll second.
Who was that?
Morgan.
Morgan. All right, now we have a motion and second. Any further discussion on this? And Steve, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you, but we can beat this horse to death. It's on its last leg right now, so let's see what
I
we can
I do have one more thing though, just to add, if we're gonna go down this road. There are people, I'm sure, and I was one of those people for a long time, that had a company vehicle. I did not own the company, but it was my daily driver. I think we need to give, if we're gonna do this, I think that, we should make some allowance if you can prove that, the vehicle's assigned to you, it's a company car, whatever, and you own a property at Three Rivers, that you can get an RFID tag.
That could be a one-off situation that we could approach at the office and answer that question? Cause the property owner's name is not going to be on the registration of a lease company vehicle, so, that could be handled. That's not gonna be an everyday occurrence. We could look at that as a one-off and see what we can do as far as the registration for it, so. That's a good point. It does happen, so.
All right, I got another one. Hope this-
Wait, did you do,
We
wait,
need
you
to
didn't do
vote
that
on
one.
this.
Oh, wait, vote, yeah. Vote on that one first.
Keep going.
Okay.
You gonna vote on that motion?
Any other discussion? Call for a vote?
Karen,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Brian. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Next, anything else on the gatekeeper?
Yes.
Oh,
Working out the
Yeah.
details, man.
Yes,
Oh,
the gatekeeper
no,
does have
Steve.
more.
Steve, hang on. Ryan had a comment or an update.
Okay.
this is gonna merge with some of the office, but a lot of LLCs and trusts are coming to us and saying, I am on the deed, or I am in some form on a piece of paper that says I own property. We have established that the administrator, putting that in quotes, it will be the only one who has access to Proptia. So discussion has been brought up that is there an alternative? And my mind thought of bringing up, do we have a idea of maybe setting up an additional charge for, so if you're in an LLC, you pay one set of dues, you get one access to Proptia, but if other people on that LLC or trust want to have access to Proptia to generate codes, could we maybe assign that and at a fee? Could we maybe allow up to, maybe say like, okay, there's 5 of you on the paperwork for this LLC. Only one of you get access, but 3 of you want access. Up to 3 at $100 a piece. If you want to pay for it, you can now have access to Proptia.
They'll be added as an associated resident or as a resident on their own.
Are those hypothetical 5 people dues paying members?
So
No.
that's where the money is coming in, because that's the workaround with LLCs and trusts, is that no, it's one set of dues. But we're having, this is almost a daily issue of people coming into the office, arguing about it, people emailing, people messaging on Facebook. And what we've been saying is, we'll take them off as administrator and put you on Proptia, but it's one or the other. You don't both get to be on, and that does not work well. And what has been said is, oh, in the old system, I was on there too. And on the old system, we were all on there. In the old system, we all had access.
So Ryan, so my sister and I own my property. We can't get 2 different, Proptia permanent residents, right?
Do you both pay dues?
Yes.
You both get access.
No, well, but we don't get double.
If you both pay dues, you both get access.
Well, that's
You will not get double permanent codes because it's in the landowners, it's in the property itself, but you both will have access to generate unlimited temporary codes.
But isn't that what they're asking for, the LLCs?
They're asking for all access to Proptia, as in they can all get their individual logins to do generation of codes.
They want to be able to set up their own temporary codes.
Yeah. Instead of going through the administrator, say you're the administrator, we're both on this property, I would have to go to you every time and say, hey, my friend wants to come over. And then you would have to generate the code and give it to them.
But if they were individuals owned, like we pay 2 dues, they'd be able to do that, correct?
You both would be able to log in on your own.
That's your answer to them.
They need to pay.
So that's.
And that's what he's saying. Is
Yeah.
They pay for it.
Yeah.
If they want to step up and do that, they'll have to pay for it.
And so like, do we say, if you want to be added into Proptia, is it a full set of dues, or is it just like a road fee? Because it's just access through the gate. That's what I'm just putting it on the
I think it's
table.
against the bylaw.
2.
that it's stated in the bylaws that were just adopted about LLCs and trusts are one entity. So I don't know that we could.
So regardless if they have 100 owners, they're one.
That's
There's
correct.
no multiple voting rights.
That's
There's no more rights outside of just Proptia. This is.
So really what we're looking at then is not that they get their own account, they would be put as an associated resident, just like if you have a spouse, you own your piece of property with your spouse could be an associated resident
Correct.
to your property. So that's really what we're looking at, is making them the LLC owner, multiple owners. So if I have 5, then you have your administrator that holds the main account and is ultimately responsible for everybody that comes through that gate. But then you have associated residents that can create their, just like we can do now with your spouse.
Yes, yes, and if we went this route, we would need to put a limit on it, because someone would say, I have 400 people in my LLC.
Well, but the LLC is, I mean, like you have the owners on the LLC site, so we can, you know, like if you have an LLC, you have to list who's part of those ownerships. You don't just get a kind of.
Or yeah, that's.
Yeah.
You could go more, less restrictive and say if 5 people are on the LLC, they would be the similar as a spouse on a married couple's property. I don't know the answer. I'm bringing to you what copious amounts of people have been arguing about.
And they want cards.
The cards aren't gonna have them.
So I like Rob made a comment.
Geez, Bob.
It's got a protector.
Yeah.
So Rob made a comment, can we have a task force workshop that includes the gatekeeper and rules and regs for this, and then come back to the board, because we'll never end that today.
Yeah.
We'll never get there today.
That is exactly what I was gonna suggest.
No, it wasn't, Steve. Don't lie.
Well, you think I talk too much, but you guys are the ones talking a lot.
Oh, God.
Just keep it going.
I make a motion, no, I'm kidding. So then that would just be, we needed.
That's coming up on our next, and 2 steps down, we have the workshop. Coming up. We can add that to it. Okay, so we'll not do anything on
Just
that.
wanted to put it on the
Leave
table.
As
Yep.
is.
Yep.
And we'll keep it going. So.
Once- As the gatekeeper, I have that one question I ask. Can I order more inventory for tags and cards? Do we have money?
Yes.
Okay, I am done. I am done.
All right.
Take a note of that.
Cash deposits, Rob, have you got an update on that?
Sorry, I was on mute. I am waiting for it's cash and checks deposit. So
Right.
Bonnie, Karen, have you heard from Bonnie at the bank about the check deposit machine?
I have, she has not personally reached out to me, no.
Okay, I'm gonna follow up with her because she was going to get us a check deposit machine, and that was the last I heard from her. So, other than that, we have Stacy, who has volunteered to help with cash deposits. So I need to work with Charlene and Stacy so that Charlene can train Stacy on the process and that sort of thing. This is just kind of a temporary thing, because I think long term we need to change our entire strategy on how this is all done. So.
Okay. I put down on here the long range plan, which you guys got a hard copy on, the reserve study, and now the gate and finalizing that. Those 3 things are long discussion items, and we need to create a workshop or schedule a workshop so that we can get together and spend time going over all of these items, because they all need attention, and we've gotten through the first basic 6 months of upheaval, and we now need to step back and get some of the stuff done. So I would like to do this, and this is not going to include the budget. And the budget meeting will be the 1st of November. So I would like to do this in October. I'd like to get it on the schedule now, so if people can pull their calendars out and see, it can be a Zoom meet, we can do a Zoom meeting, right? For this?
Anything, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there. But, we can do a Zoom, so, or we can have it here. But if we could look at the October calendar, it doesn't necessarily have to be on a Sunday. It could be during the week, other than if we started at 6, I would imagine that this will go till probably, this will be at least a 3 to 4 hour meeting. Is there a preference to do it on the weekend? Do I hear any? Want to do it on a Sunday afternoon or evening, or a weeknight? And Tom, you'll probably have to stay for the whole meeting, so I'd like to know a date that works well for you. For sure.
I'm gonna be in Spain from October 5th to October 20th, so I'm not gonna be able to do any of those days.
Okay. So we're looking at the last 2 weeks of October. The 27th, yes, Sunday. How's that look for everybody?
I'm currently open this, Rob.
Okay, Morgan,
October, what would you say?
27th.
27.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer not weekends, but that's fine. If that's what we got, I'll be there for it.
Right, Karen? All right, then let's schedule it for October 27th. We'll start at 6. That or 7? 7?
PM, AM?
PM.
PM.
I've
I was
seen,
I think that's beyond, I know, it's like, that's beyond some of our bedtime, so be careful. 7.
Did you say that's gonna be a 4-hour meeting though?
well,
Only if Steve's there.
yeah, we're covering gate in that, so that, you get Grady and fired up, it could be a tough one, so.
So that would be, I mean, that would be 7 to 11.
I know,
PM
that's kind of tough.
on a Sunday night.
No, it's no, October 27th is a Wednesday.
No, it's a Sunday.
Sorry, it is a Sunday, my bad. Yeah, Sunday night. There'll be a football game on for part of it.
Can we do a weeknight starting at 5 p.m.?
We could. I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
That's why I actually said 7, because I thought it was a weekday.
Okay.
5 is not gonna work for me on pretty much any weekday, because I can't guarantee you where I'll be.
Well, we've got this stuff has to get covered, man.
If you just push it back, if you do a weekday for me, if you go to 6 or 7, I'm fine, I can make that work. 5 is,
October 24th, Thursday.
Thursday, the 24th at 6 o'clock.
That works for me.
Okay.
Was Tom back?
Tom, how do you feel about that?
Or Wednesday, the 23rd.
That'll be great. I'll be on the Mediterranean having a cocktail.
On the 24th?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought
I'm
you was
good
coming
back until the 25th.
Oh, 25th. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was wishful thinking. I'll be back on the 20th. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah.
So you guys said the 24th
at 6.
At 6.
It's Thursday night football, I'll remind you.
That gives Rob something to watch while we're talking, so that's good.
I'm doing that now.
I was going to say that's no different than what's happening right now.
Yeah, that's what he's doing right now, so that's good. Okay, I've got that. Any other old business? Right, new business, airport management, Ed has retired from his position as airport manager, so we need to entertain that position. And everybody has to remember that the airport is a standalone entity that was donated to the association. So we would most likely need to have somebody who is directly related to the airport.
So is there a position description? I don't know, I'll use that as a lack of a better term. Is there like, what is an airport manager expected? Because I was just thinking like, you know, there's 20 some people on the call and these people in the room. I can think of people that are associated to the airport, but would it be better suited for us to just put it out in a email to landowners?
Yeah.
So is there something that says this is what you need,
Okay,
you need to do?
Yeah, I have got something, at home on my desk that will, because I was visiting with Ed about it, that will do that. So I'll get that to you. And
Okay.
we can put
Then we
that
can
out.
put something together and put it out.
Okay. The Stills proposal. This is not a proposal for us to buy the property. I talked to him and he is doing some work down at his marina dock area for the houseboats. And he needs to get 4 houseboats out of the water. They'll be on trailers and he's asking to park them up in the boat parking. And he is offering to pay for that. Three to four boats. I would say that there would be 4. And as the time goes, it's difficult to pin down how long it would be, but it would not obviously last until next spring because he needs to have those boats back in the water for the new season. I wanted to bring it by the board if anybody had a problem with it. Any questions about it? He would be parking them in that upper boat parking lot.
Probably the lower one, wouldn't it be easier access to get in and out?
Yeah,
61.5
yeah, I would think that we just don't have that kind of activity down there during the winter time.
Right.
That he can't just put them right there.
He's willing to pay.
They're big, obviously, they're gonna take up the
And he's
whole
willing to
winter.
pay.
Yeah, and he is willing to pay.
How much is he gonna pay?
What?
How much is he going to pay?
$600 a boat.
How long? He establishes dates.
He couldn't give a definitive time because he didn't know how long it would be that he needed it to prepare.
Okay.
But
Probably would have to put a.
the guidance would be such that he needs to have them back in the water before Memorial Day. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, he has to be ready before, at least a month before. As soon as spring comes, you can find him water trade. Any other issues with that?
Yeah, just a question. Why now? Why does he have to do that now? We've never had to do that. He's never had to do that before. What's going on?
Yeah, he has done this before and he's changing his moorage around and his idea is to just do his repairs. He has pulled those boats out before and parked them right by our pumping station, so.
And he's not going to be working on them up there?
The boats?
Yep.
No, he never mentioned anything about repairing the boats. He's not repairing the boats. He's repairing the moored to.
It's got to be the part of the agreement because there are environmental issues.
Did you hear him?
Yeah, the environment, what would
If
be?
he was cleaning, if he was doing repair on the boat.
Oh,
He's agreeing to just store them.
Yeah,
There's
he's
nothing other than storage.
Yeah.
right. That is what he proposed to me, is to store the boats.
I think you need a hard date to make sure they're out of there.
Yeah.
Something doesn't happen,
Yeah.
Memorial Day comes and.
All right, I will present that to him if there's something that can be. Okay? All right, I will let him know. Next thing that we had, it was brought up in one of our meetings that we wanted to look at the committee assignment and that, thank you, Michelle, for doing that. That should give us our committee assignments. So we have Tom, Rob, Morgan, Ryan, Dave, myself.
Oops,
and
sorry.
Top cut off a little bit.
Yeah, it's because this
That's
I'm
okay.
sharing is, but this says Bill at the very,
Yeah,
bless
that's
it.
okay. Yeah.
That says Bill at the very top.
First of all, anybody have any desire to change or do something different that they have? And secondly, Dave, you were the primary impetus for looking at this, so the changes that you want to bring up.
Well, this is under the motion that I made.
I understand. So that's all we have to do is that motion would, the two motions that we took away from the meeting that we'll vote on was the hiring process and the adoption for the proposal for hiring an office manager. So
Are we
this
missing
change
rules and
would be
regs?
separate from that, so we would need a motion, if you want to make a motion to change.
Well, this, under this motion here, that is in that.
That your second motion,
Yes.
And then Rob just said, made a comment.
Rob?
Rules and regs, are we missing that or?
Yep, sorry. Listen, this was going off my brain this morning.
That's okay.
And I believe garbage actually does fall into gatekeeper at this point.
But that was just.
Well, that's
that
just
was-
now.
Yeah.
Garbage
That
keeper.
was just now.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage keeper.
I mean, is it not allowed to? Yeah, I don't know. What the hell?
Okay, so that's where we're at. Then what we'll do is keep that in mind and we have two motions that are up. And did you send those to Michelle so they'll come up or do you have to read it?
I'll send it to her.
There are two motions that are on. The first motion that we'll be looking at is changing the hiring process. And little fat fingers.
There it comes.
Okay, come on. Oh, okay.
Now I gotta type it in, so you gotta give me a
Oh my
second.
God.
I know. Okay, we're gonna do the first one is gonna be. Which one are you doing first? Because you have the one about the office manager.
No, we want to
We're
do
gonna do this, the
the
second.
hiring process.
The hiring process one, the
Yeah.
second one.
Do that first, get it out of the way. He doesn't write small motions.
No, apparently that's hurting my head. Okay.
Bless you.
I need more space here. For your motion, so hold on while it uploads. So your second motion is there.
Correct.
So everyone should be able to see that.
Uh,
Well, we can't read it with that.
hold on.
All I see is an org chart.
It's in the chat, Tom.
This is the same motion we discussed in executive session the other day.
Is this motion coming from Dave?
Yes. Everybody, let me know when everybody's got it read.
I've read it.
I've read it. I have one question on the last sentence.
Okay, I will get a second on it, then go. Everybody got it? All right. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Ryan seconds. Discussion. Now, Morgan, you had a question.
Yeah, I'm just curious of why the board has to choose the person if we could have an office manager that we choose, that we trust to do the final decision making, but bring all the information for that candidate to the board. I don't know that we have to all of us have to be there to interview the final candidate.
Okay.
Option.
You want to address that? It's your motion.
Well, if you don't want to partake in the interview, I guess you don't have to. I think the board ought to be part of it. I don't think we want to leave it to one person.
Right. I'm not saying that that it's just up to one person. I'm saying the board of directors helps picks the candidates all the way down to the last person. But at like a physical interview, I feel like with the entire board is not necessary.
And I'm a little uncomfortable with the verbiage where it says the committee has selected someone for hire and then the board interviews afterwards. The board, there's got to be something in there that says that the board approves the hire.
That's kind of where I'm going with it. We can all approve the hire, but not necessarily be involved in all of the interview process.
I agree, but the way it's written, it looks like the committee has hired the person. It just says that the board has an interview afterwards, but it doesn't state that the board will make a final decision on the hire. There's got to be something in that.
Okay, we can have to amend.
Another comment. This is relating to the minimum of 1 month recruitment period should be enforced. Luckily, we had another office employee in place prior to Shauna and Arlene quitting. If we didn't have backup in that situation, we'd have an office vacant for a month by our own enforcement. So maybe we need to add a provision in there like an emergency provision or something like that? If I'm reading that correctly or understanding that correctly.
You're saying you're gonna recruit for 1 month. That's a long time.
Yeah, it says a minimum of, 1 month
Only
recruitment
once a
period should be
month, so-
enforced. Yeah.
We could lose a person in a month easy. I mean.
We only meet once a
candidate.
month too. So there's that part of it.
Yeah, but you could also hire someone on a probationary period. This is to go through the whole process of vetting the person out instead of just one individual going and picking and then they're sitting up at the front, unbeknownst to the other 6 of us.
So maybe it's just a movement of words.
Yeah, we can have a motion to amend if we want to add or strike words from the motion.
So we're good for the first sentence. Is everybody good with that part of it? Let's break this down and see where we need to work this.
And yeah, also a 1 month recruitment period, you typically don't have 2 people who quit on Thursday and let you know Friday morning. So I'm not saying it won't happen again, it might, but usually you get some notice that shortens your 1 month. What I'm reading is allowing the neighborhood to have like knowledge that there's even a job opening. Like the person that was hired, how did she find out that there was an opening? Did she just walk in and apply? These are all questions that we don't have the answers to. I would like to know if there's a position for hire. I would, if someone asked me if there's a position for hire, I think they should know if there was an opening, other than just walking in and asking the person sitting there.
So I think what I'm hearing is, what you're saying in that motion is that you're gonna put it out, a recruitment process is gonna be put out. Maybe you take away the word minimum. I don't know if you need to set it, but here nor there. You're doing a recruitment process. You're gonna communicate it out. Candidates are gonna be identified.
Yeah, you could so a recruitment period should be. So you could remove minimum of 1 month, and it would fit. Yeah, it's open for interpretation of what the recruitment period would be, but it would be an recruitment period.
So
You can also use the words permanent hire. That way there is a possibility for somebody to step in temporarily until we find a permanent.
where was that at?
The second line on the right side, you were just over it, right there.
To do what?
So remove minimum of a 1 month. And after the A. That's right. That's right. That's right.
So then, the candidate will have instead of saying the candidate will have a final interview, do you say the board has
The option.
the final approval of the position, or?
Yeah, how would you word that? That's a good direction.
You could say the board will have final approval of candidates, so that would take care of it.
And just remove, we have a final interview, I guess.
Yeah.
And really, the first statement takes care of anything as far as emergency situation. This doesn't deal with emergency situations. So it only, if we're considering any increase in staff or to fill a vacant position, obviously there can be an urgency to that, but that would be handled on a case-by-case basis. Again, I can't be overly specific, but we have to have at least a process.
Yeah, because the previous sentence does give all seven of us the option to attend the interview process.
Yeah.
So is that,
So there's our motion to amend. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Brian? Any discussion on the amended motion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Karen,
Yes.
Tom, Rob,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Tom,
Easton.
Dave's a yes.
Okay,
Well, I'm a yes too. Sorry, I was on the chat thing and when I hit the space bar, it doesn't unmute me.
okay, got that. So now the second motion. And this is a proposal motion. Okay, this is the first step in looking towards an office manager. So Dave is proposing that this search begin and find out if that person exists within a budget that we can afford and be able to do what we're supposed to do. So that's what the motion is here for, and you can read what it says. Okay, that's Dave's motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Morgan.
Yes. Discussion.
So preferably from the pool of current full-time residents of Three Rivers. That's not a requirement. That's just a preference, right?
Right.
Okay. And then I don't want to get put the cart before the horse here, but I think we need to identify maybe like a job title, duties for this person, and fair compensation, so we can include that compensation in the budget, because I don't think we can afford this position now where we stand. So I just don't want to go down the path of a search when we don't have the money yet. So it's
That's why this is a proposal.
Okay.
We're proposing to do this, so we have to fill in those blanks around the proposal.
Okay.
This is something that has been visited before by previous boards, but never, the only option that was ever really finalized was to hire Fieldstone, and they create the office manager position. They were a association management position. So this is a little more detailed, and I think we'll be able to come up with a little more precise proposal. I think here's what Dave is most concerned with, is that the office, in fact, when I became secretary of the association in 2016, the office fell under the secretary, and that was what happened. And Randy felt that I didn't do a very good job, and he convinced the board members at the time that that should go to Jeff Thompson. And Jeff was the manager or the director overseeing the office. and Karen was helping him when she came on as a director, so, that's the history of where we're at with it. So it was originally a secretary secretary's responsibility.
So this aligns with those responsibilities.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing that I ask is if we could put in HOA Starter, the 3rrec.com website, that they would need to know that as well.
I think we could probably stay away from specifics and just put in all Three Rivers associated software, because we might switch from Propsy at some point, or we might switch from HOA Start, you know, so I think just software as a general term should be okay, but should we consider adding as part of this proposal that we create the job description and the compensation? Should that be in here, or is that not necessary to be in here?
Well, again, the motion is not to specifically hire an office, it's to look into hiring an office manager. So we don't really know what the compensation would be until we've, spent some time looking at it, and that's what Dave.
That's why it was a search.
That's what Dave is searching for now, is to find out what can happen. We just, again, we're giving ourselves direction, and that's.
Yeah, as long as we know what dollar amount to put in the budget in November, then that's all I'm worried about.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And that's coming up quickly.
Yeah.
So,
Who's responsible for the search again?
at this point in time,
All the other motion.
I'm sorry, hang on just a
They're
second.
gonna fall into that other motion we just passed, aren't we all gonna, the other hiring process?
It would fall into that. Tom, Dave answered your question in saying that it would fall into the motion that we just passed, where it would go out, and the board would have the final decision as to the hire of the office manager. So this is actually a motion to amend, obviously, again. Dave, I can't assume Morgan the second, but Morgan, would you second the amended motion?
Yes, I second.
Okay. Any discussion on the amended motion? Hearing none. Paul?
Karen?
Yep.
Tom?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So now all we have is other new business. Did anybody on the floor have anything that they want to go?
Yeah, I just had a question about the last slide. The org chart. I don't see borders and land use on there.
That committee was dissolved, and at the end of the last board.
I think you'll find that it's a standing committee.
It's all under architectural.
Okay.
I remember we dissolved that, yeah.
Well,
The architectural committee controls all of that.
okay. I'll have an offline discussion with you later then. Thanks.
Okay.
And then Rob has a motion that only the chair of the communications committee or a communications committee member appointed by the chair can post to our official Facebook page.
Okay. Motion's on the floor. Is there a second?
Yes, I'll
Wait,
second
and
that.
then, you know, what specific Facebook page?
Official Facebook
The
page.
official.
The
Official Facebook page.
There's only one official Facebook page that we have, so
Yeah.
it's pretty, you know. Okay, I'm sorry, was there a second?
Yes, I second it, Morgan.
Okay,
So could we see the motion, please? Sorry.
okay. Discussion? Sorry, I said that already, I'm trying to read my. Reading none, call for a vote.
Karen,
No.
Tom,
On mute.
Rob,
Yes.
Yes, this is Tom, sorry.
Morgan,
Yes.
Brian?
yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Any other new business? Okay,
Can we go back to that, flow chart thing you had there?
yes, absolutely.
Are we gonna reassign these for the, motions that were passed here?
Yes.
So you're gonna reassign,
So office falls under secretary.
you need to put rules and regs in.
And we need to put rules and regs in.
Garbage needs to fall.
What,
Garbage needs to go under Steve.
but does garbage report, is Dave the board person?
The garbage and firewise, if Dave wants to continue with all three of those, then that would be it.
That's fine.
If he wants to give up,
So garbage doesn't get moved, it's just Steve's name goes there.
this is being added to.
Instead of Penny.
So that leaves Karen at rules and regs, security. Rob doesn't have anything. Morgan, Brian, all those things.
I know that Linda Wheeler left, you can't see it there, it's underneath that,
Yes.
governing documents.
Governing documents actually should fall under Karen, not me.
Do we want to do the same with governing documents? Or do you guys have enough people on that?
No, we need to find a chairperson for governing documents.
So do you want to do the same
As
as
is
we're doing
airport?
with the airport?
Yeah, we can do the same thing.
Is there any, while we're doing that, is there any other positions that need to be filled?
We need 2 people in rules and regs.
Is the airport, what do we call the airport again? What is the actual title of?
He's the airport manager.
Yeah, there's no, he's a manager, but he's just a manager, like free.
No, there's a
Fall-
description that
Where does
I
it-
just sent it to her, she'll publish it.
Yeah.
No, where does he fall? Like what I'm asking is, you may have already said it, but where does that fall? Does that fall anywhere?
That originally was under, boundaries and land use, only because really there was a control issue there, but somebody wanted to be able
So
to, no,
maybe
airport can
architecture?
fall under anything.
But we put boundaries and land use under architecture, so it really should
Airport
be.
should be under architecture as well. That's absolutely right. So you've got all those changes. All right. Okay, so and could you, if you can, reproduce that, send us out to all of the people who are listed so that we don't get. So, okay. All right. Next regular meeting would be October 20th.
Did we skip communications altogether? Was I?
Oh, well, no. I
Well, you
thought
kind of went in and out.
We went in and out on it up above. If you have something. on
Yeah,
communication,
we actually have something that we all need to know.
Jump up.
It should be quick, but if you wanna pull that picture up there, Michelle.
Oh,
It should.
Please hold.
Is that-
should be quick.
What's up, Steve? Gray?
Okay, here's the list.
Hold on, I gotta
The
reshare
seven of
this.
us already know. We are officially back with 3rrec.com emails. I have Dave set up, Rob started to get set up. I can get the rest of us set up. There's a link with instructions if you want to put it on your phone, or if you just want to view it through app.rackspace.com. I do want to thank Amanda Ford for sitting down with me and showing me this option. This is basically similar to what we used to have in the future, but better, but there'll be no forwarding. You'll have to view your emails through the website or get it set up on your phone. Either way, it'll load on your phone. So the seven of us have our own email addresses. Sorry, Tom, sorry, Morgan, we didn't have a name, so we're just a number. Front office has one, so office@3rrec.com. Communications group has one. Gatekeeper has one. There's no limit. We can keep, they're $4 a piece per month. So if we want to give one to the volunteer group, if you know, whatever, we can add, that's what I'm saying. So this is what we have right this second. I want to get us off of using our personal emails. I would like to not be emailed to my personal email anymore. That would be great. The office does have two. They still have the Three Rivers Landowners Association at Gmail, which is the world's longest email ever. But if people email the original office at, you know, it'll go there. The point of this is these emails will be stored. So whenever, say, I leave, the emails that were sent to me will carry on to the next number 7. This is the professional way to do this, and we can continue on this path.
Okay.
Hey, Ryan, is there a drop dead date we should start like all converting box and?
I don't see roads. I don't either. That's what I was trying to say. There's no.
Is there,
No, we can add them to this. This is the
Am I blind?
baseline that
Yeah.
starts with. So
I see
Bob,
why.
if you want one,
TOWERS.
Well, isn't that where I should be putting the post of the meetings?
What am I reading wrong?
no, that's not,
this is where you get an email. This is come to your phone.
I fixed it already. Oh, so on these emails, I'll answer you. Where to go? I'll answer you in a second. I can act like if you were to just disappear one day for whatever reason,
Thanks.
or you decide you want to change your email password every single day, I can manage all of this on the back end. So keep that in mind. And I could push out the information you need to get back into it.
Okay.
And you were asking about an email?
Yeah,
For
roads.
roads.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where if we need to make a motion or if we need to just discuss it, we probably don't need to. We can add these endlessly at $4 a piece per month. So if we want to add roads, just tell me the ones we want to add from this point and I will.
Well, right now, roads is probably the one that's gonna get the most.
What about volunteer though? Because
Yeah.
then that could just like go straight to them.
Kevin, you wanna have a Kyle?
Sure.
One of you.
Kyle.
So
But I'll help him.
Yeah.
volunteer group at 3rrec.com sounds good.
but to the other part of Bob, this is a communication tool for you. This isn't where you would,
Okay.
right? It would just be an email
Right.
for Rose.
Yeah, to get off of your personal email. This will
Yeah.
be the official 3rrec.com.
And then Rob Taylor asked, what's the drop dead date on when we should all 100% migrate to the new emails no later than October 1?
September 14th, please. I've been trying for like 2 weeks.
October 1.
Yeah.
October 1.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else from communication?
Don't, oh, is that, no.
Hearing none. Again, October 20th is the next scheduled date. I know Tom will be coming back from vacation on that day. Is there any other issues with the 20th? Okay. Tom, do you want us to move it to the 27th so you're available, or?
That would be great if it was okay with everybody else.
Okay, so that's the proposal. 27th, anybody got an issue with the 27th?
Works for me.
Okay, so we'll change it to the 27th. We'll do it at 9 AM at this location. And Michelle, thank you for getting the screen.
Much better.
Way nice.
It really looks great, and I don't know what you have to do
We'll
for
fix it.
that, just
We got it. We got
get a new one or whatever you gotta do, but do it, so.
Got
All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Would you send me the chat?
Second.
Would you save the chat and send it to me, please?
I'll second. Rob.
Rob seconds, any discussion? Motion or a roll call?
Karen,
Yep.
Tom,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Dave's yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for today, and we'll send the information out, need to get sent out this coming week, and the minutes will come out as well for everybody. Thank you.